Xbox and Microsoft have announced that they are going with a discless system, and I kind of heard about it about a month ago when it was kind of all the rage, but I never actually thought about it and kind of put the thoughts in my head to thinking whether or not I like the idea or not. And so I thought about it a little bit, and I wanted you guys to know what I think about it and whether or not I think it's a cool thing or kind of just a stupid thing that's kind of going to go by the wayside. And I will preface this by saying I will talk about good things and bad things, but overall I will tell you at the very end what I actually think about it. Now, I will start by saying some cool things about it, and then we'll get to the bad things eventually. But Xbox obviously has announced a discless system, which means you can't just go into a store and buy the game and take it home and play it in your system. You're going to have the internet, and probably good internet, in order to buy games from the Microsoft Xbox One store and then download those on the system, and then you'll be able to play it. Now, one cool thing about this is if you buy it, you can actually buy games preloaded on the system, which is actually kind of a really cool idea, because like I think about if I went and bought a Xbox One game. Let's talk about Fallout 4, just because it's right there. So Fallout 4 is a big game and there are a bunch of things on it. But if I buy this digitally pre-installed, I don't have to spend hours and wasting time waiting for it to load, or have to waste my data cap, because oftentimes people have data caps and on their cable or their internet, however they get their internet, and it just kind of sucks, because if you waste 25 gigs on a game, that's 25 gigs you can't use for playing, which sucks. But like I said, it's a kind of a cool concept because the games are coming to you on the system. So if you know, okay, I only want these 5 games this year, I can put them on the system and Xbox will ship that out to you and you'll get it on the system and you'll be good to go. No waiting time, no downtime, no wasting of your data. And so I liked that idea. I thought about it and I was like, this could be cool. This could be cool for a cheap console. Now I think about this, and you can pick up an Xbox One S for around $175 to maybe $225. About, let's say, $200. So you get an Xbox One S for $200, then you buy your games, and that's a used Xbox One S. You might be able to get one new for that if it's on sale or whatnot, but let's just say it's $200. In order for this discless system to come out and be worth it for me, it's gotta be less than $150. Maybe $175, but you're getting a little bit too high there. But I think it needs to go to kind of a different way of thinking. Like, I thought about it as, okay, it doesn't have a disk drive, it'll be smaller, it'll be more compact. Maybe if you live in a small apartment or have a small house, it'll fit in your house better. If space is an issue, that actually might be a good thing. But if it's only $50 cheaper, you might as well get the system that can play all the games that you can go out and buy used. And we'll talk about that later on, but I want to say that this is a really cool concept because of the whole kind of small package you could get it in, and honestly, you wouldn't have to worry about anything crazy. However, I will say it's an interesting concept. Now, the more I think about it, and while I'm talking through, I'm thinking of more things like, how am I going to get used games? Well, you can't get used games, but I will say this one thing. What they need to do is make it to where when you buy the console, you get Xbox Game Pass for like 6 months or a year. Something incentivizing people to go out and get that. So say it's $175. Actually, let's make it $200. So it's the same price to get the discless system as it is the Xbox One S. Say they're both $200. Well, if you include Game Pass for 6 months, people are going to be drawn to that because that is games they can play for the same price as this one without having to spend the money for those games. Now, I know you could buy Game Pass with that console and everything, but just think about how much simpler, how much more driven those customers would be to buy the discless system because it came with Game Pass. And that's something I honestly think it needs to come with. Like, give them 6 months of Game Pass, give them a month of Game Pass, give them some sort of Game Pass, because that's something that needs to be on there. Don't just give them Xbox Gold or Live, or it's Gold. I always get that confused. Don't just give them Xbox Live, because it's not as incentivizing. But if you get them the Game Pass, it'll make it worth it. And those are kind of the cool things I see about this. It's going to save you time, it's going to save you space, and maybe save you money on spending games. Those are my pros. Now let's get to the cons, and everyone is probably going to agree with this, and if you do, please comment down below and let me know what you think of it. But the system is gotta be cheap, because if it is not cheap, it's almost more worth it to go out and buy a used Xbox One S, because those things are beefy, those things are great, and they're not actually that much money. So I say you gotta think about that when you're getting one of these. But the next thing is this. I own this. Xbox cannot take this away from me. I mean, they could, but they're not going to. I mean, I guess they can. Well, whatever. This is something I own. I own the disc. If I ever want to play this and I have it downloaded on my system, I can plug this in to the game or to the console, and this game will work. That is not the case with the discless system. If they ever turn off the servers, you're screwed. You're stuck with that. And also on the idea of game preservation. This way, in the future, if I want to say go back and play Fallout 4 in 20 years, I have the disc, and if I have an Xbox One that works, I can easily play it. However, that's not the case with these discless digital systems, because you're just stuck to basically renting that game. So you say, I'll pay 50 bucks, actually 60 bucks, because it's not cheaper, which is another issue we'll get into. But it's 60 bucks for this game, but really you're just renting it for the lifetime of the console itself. If the console in 5 years is no longer in date and they don't care about those servers, you can say goodbye to all those games you bought. But back to what we were talking about. Digital games are not cheaper than physical games. And that's one thing I see as a big deal for this as well. If the games were $15 or $20 cheaper, maybe 10, let's say 10. If they were $10 cheaper, the discless system might be more appealing. However, if the games are the exact same price, I can go out, buy this, play it, and have a bunch of fun, and then if I want to, I can sell this and put it towards more games in the future. Those digital games, whenever I get them, they're kind of pointless, because I can't sell them, obviously. But that's a different story. If you're buying games and you want to flip them or trade them or whatever, that is up to you. But if you get that digital download, you will not be able to do that unless you trade the whole system, I guess. So with that being said, I wanted to let you guys know kind of what I thought about this system. Now, Xbox has said they wanted to do this before, and crowd reaction booed them. Like, fans changed their mind instantly when they first announced way back when. I want to say when the Xbox One was announced, they said, hey, what we're going to do is be all digital, and people were like, boo, you suck! And so they decided to change that. So that is one thing that I am kind of shocked that they decided to go with this, but at the same time, I could see why. It's kind of that perfect time where they could put out this new model and kind of pick up some revenue, because I think Xbox One is kind of dying out. And hopefully, whatever Xbox has next for them, their console, they get that out quickly. Because honestly, in my opinion, the Xbox has to come out before the PlayStation 5, because the way that things are going this generation, I think PlayStation 4 totally dominated, and Xbox One was just kind of So if Xbox wants to reclaim their leadership between the two consoles, they've got to become faster, and I think maybe making some money and doing this will benefit them, but who knows. I wanted to let you guys know kind of what I thought about this system. I thought it's interesting. If it's cheap enough, I might buy one just to see what it's about. But with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. That way you know when I post more videos. With that being said, make sure you have a good day.